Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm going to get started here in just a couple minutes. I'm going to let everybody get a little bit of time to get joined here in the stream. So here in just a couple minutes, we're going to go ahead and get started. What I'd like to do today is I'm going to take a look at a few different alt assets. I'm going to take a look and see if there's anything that's worth buying. And so, of course, before I get into any of this, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. I'm just giving my opinion on the market, and we're going to go through some charts. We're going to find things that look okay, but more importantly, I'm going to be trying to do a little bit of education today. So hopefully, you guys are all going to be paying attention to. You guys are all going to be paying attention to me here because this is going to be a really different video compared to what I usually do. So yeah, let's go ahead. Again, I'm just going to wait another maybe 30, 45 seconds before I really get into the charts. But finally, one last note: if you need access to our Discord, there's a link in the video description. You can get a link to access our Discord right inside the video description. It's a direct link to get access to the Discord, and of course, if you'd like to become a member on our Discord, there's also a link in the video description to get access to that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip over to the charts here. Okay, here we go. Let's do it. So first off, we've been doing a lot of real interesting things here, just talking about different trades to take over the last about the last week or so. We bought some stellar back here. Just kind of taking a look at things. It actually looks like it probably wants to come back down here and retest this level a little bit lower. But this is a trade that we took, and bounced up quite a bit. But we were kind of expecting this guy to go up here to like 966 to 968. This is on lumens, and as long as we maintain this pivot here at 730, I think it's very possible that this does work out to the upside. Things look okay. The hourly is starting to curl up, and again, for anybody that's not familiar with the indicators that I use, pretty much I use from an indicator standpoint. This is really the only one that I use, and it's the one that I wrote. So we've got some confluence with the green and the yellow, which is the hourly and the 3-hour. The red is the 12-hour, and it's the 12-hour on crypto. It's the daily on regular traditional stocks. It works out really pretty well. So again, just kind of looking at this, it looks like the hourly does want to curl up. It wants to see some upside. But let's take a look at some things that we haven't looked at before. All right, so we're going to take a look at some things. This is no secret. I'm literally just using the crypto screener that's inside of right inside of TradingView. I'm looking for RSI on the daily that's below 40. I'm looking for 10-day average volume that is higher than or greater than 30-day average volume. So we're looking for an increase of volume over the last 10 days on average compared to what the average volume is over the last month. So if we see more volume on average in the last 10 days than we have on average in the last month, that's generally a pretty good sign. Let's just take a look here at lumens. And I know I've got this this kind of dark down here, but you can see that volume back here was very, very high. All right, so volume back here was very, very high. We've got volume. Actually, let's go ahead and do it this way. I'm going to put my data window up here so that we can see the volume right there. All right, so volume back here was trading at about 176 million. And today, and that was in an hour, right? Just over that hour. And then we've only got 5.8 million that traded last hour, okay? So what we're looking for is we're looking for an increase of volume, which is a good sign. It's a really good sign. If we're getting lower and lower and the volume is increasing, that can be seen as a good thing, provided we get a pivot. So this is what we're going to be looking for. I'm going to start by looking at Box BTC. That's the first one I'm going to look at here. Actually, let me get it on. Okay. I probably should make sure that we've got some price action on Binance. So let me make sure that I'm also filtering by exchange. I only want the exchange to be on Binance. So let me make one small change here. We want to look at assets that are on Binance. All right, so this is a little bit better. Okay, just made one little refinement to here. Now we're gonna start with Tron. TRX BTC. Let's take a look at this guy. Um, TRX BTC, making sure that I choose Binance. All right, that's what we are on. This actually looks pretty good, even though it looks a little spotty. We're down here at like 85, 86 Satoshis, which is, I mean, historically really, really low. But actually, what I would say is we're probably going to find our way back down here to 79 or 80. And from there, I'm pretty bullish on Tron. So let's just take this guy. We're going to take a fib. We're going to pull the retrace on here from this dominant pivot low. Obviously, you can see down here, 72 is going to be our floor that we really need to keep. And talking about this guy coming back down to 80, 79, 80, you know, in confluence with this pivot here, that brings us right down here to the 618. If we can get down here to 79, that's where I would be looking to buy. If we get down to 79, that's pretty good place. I think that your odds are really in your favor down here because let me go to, well, actually here we've got a pretty decent pivot up here. Let's take this guy from this dominant pivot high to this dominant pivot low. I'm also going to pull out a calculator here because a couple things we need to watch for. Okay, so first off, the 50 is right here at 143. High confluence with this pivot over here. I'm going to pop over to the 2 hour so I can get a little more data on here. So you can see we've got the 50 right here. We've got the 618 right here. Both of these are really key for Tron. So let's just take a look here. Looking left, okay, so we've got all of this right here, which is in high confluence with the 50 to the 618. All right, and you could put the 65 on there, get some golden zone. But likely for this guy to go from 85 to 160, that's doubling your investment if that were to happen. Now, can it go higher than that? It absolutely can. Take this, pivot a little bit higher up here to this high. Then what do we have? Well, we've got the 50 all the way up here where we had prior resistance. All right, so again, we're still sitting down here at 80. We're talking about coming down here to 72. But for this guy to go to, you know, 270 or even 300, that's a pretty significant move to the upside. All right, so this is probably what we are probably going to be correcting, this whole move right here. Because again, what we can kind of see, let me zoom out just a little bit. Again, we're looking at a 4 hour. Let me get rid of the indicator for a moment here. So what this looks like to me is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. And likely this is probably going to come again up here, maybe to that 160, and then more than likely it's going to find itself a little bit lower. But the upside here is still pretty good. Even to take it up here, that's about 100%. You know, we're talking about doubling, even from its current state. It's possible that the 3 is back here, and this is the 4 right here, and then this is the 5. If this is the 5 and we did find the floor, which it is very, very possible that we did, then again, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be correcting this entire move. And again, it's going to happen probably over a couple weeks, but you would still kind of expect this guy to come up here to at least the 382 to the 50. These are the areas that you're going to be watching. Let me put this on the daily for a moment. All right, so we can take a look at this on the daily, and you can see we've got this 200 that's coming right up here to this 236. Right? So, I mean, it makes sense. We're probably going to get some resistance there, and what that's probably going to set us up for is from this bottom, a nice A, pull back for the B, find some support on maybe the 100 moving average, and then move ourselves up to the C. All right, so again, give it some time. We're probably looking, honestly, you're honestly probably looking at a few month hold at this point for Tron from being down here where it's at right now. Now, obviously, this can move quick, but Tron looks okay down here. Tron looks okay, and actually your risk is pretty well defined. Like obviously we're looking for this guy to come back down to 70. Let me go ahead and just kind of zoom in down here real quick. Let me put this right there, because really your risk is not that bad. What you're looking at for your risk. All right, so we're looking at this guy to come back down here to about 79. 79. And then where are you managing your risk? Well, ideally you're going to be managing it down here because it should not revisit 72. So taking a trade from 79 to 72, let me just go ahead and put this, you're talking about an 8.86% risk, which isn't terrible in crypto terms. Your upside, you're going to be looking for this guy to come up here to at least 165, which is going to give you 108%. So again, be a little patient. Be a little patient. Wait for this guy to finish its move. Again, we could be working on an A, B, C, get that trade, and then you're going to be looking for A, B, C into the A, and then down here for the B, and then you're going to be looking for potentially higher. All right. So whether you sell up here and try and rebuy down here, I mean, honestly, it doesn't really work well for many people. But all in all, I would say that we're probably going to see a push up here to that 236 at 165. Going to get a pullback, right? As long as this guy goes up in 1, 2, and really we're looking for 3, 4, 5. If that goes up in 5 waves like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you expect this guy to come back to the 50. Then if that guy comes back to the 50, let's throw a fib on this again from the bottom to where we think it might top out. And I actually drew that pretty well. Down here to the 50, down to about 118. So again, from 165 down to 118. Then you can take a look for that guy to finish off maybe at 187, maybe a little bit higher. We'll just have to kind of wait and see, because obviously none of this price action has happened, and you know, it's really impossible to forecast perfectly. But all in all, we're in the middle of what appears to be the start of a significant move. Okay, and it does look like we completed 5 waves up. We should be doing 3 waves down. Then we should have a big impulsive move up, and that's going to be the alt season that everybody's going to be looking for. So Tron looks okay down here, I guess is really what I'm trying to say. Tron looks okay. Let's look at a couple other things. STMX BTC. STMX. Let's take a look and see what this one looks like. Looks pretty bad. Looks pretty bad. It's been oversold for quite a while now. It's all the way down here. It's at 6 Satoshis. It is. Reminds me a lot of HOT. So let me go to a daily and just take a look at this chart on the daily. Not a lot of history. It actually looks like it got listed, had a little pump here. Look at this huge volume spike where there was 5.6 billion tokens traded in that day. But actually we're starting to see an increase of volume down here. Okay, if you take a look at the volume, let me just zoom in. So this is going to be a little more pronounced. This looks to me like there's some accumulation happening down here, and that would make a whole lot of sense because we're trading down here at 6 Satoshis right now. Excuse me. So, I mean, does this look okay? I would say this is not one that I'd be willing to gamble on just quite yet, because we had 815 million tokens that were traded yesterday. So far today, we're actually at a fraction of that, 274, and there's only a few hours left in the trading day. So it looks to me like there is some accumulation going on. Maybe you can take a small bite, but the problem here is you don't have a clear indication of when you're wrong. Like, when are you wrong? When you're buying the bottom, or at least trying to buy the bottom. Yeah, it can't go down any further. Well, actually, yeah, it can. It can go down to 5. It can go down to 4. If it goes down to 4, well, you know how much you just lost? You just lost 33%. If it goes down to 3, well, there you go. You just lost half. It doesn't take much to lose, but it doesn't take much to gain either, which is why I would say to be a little more careful about what you are willing to invest in something that's worth so little. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's keep on going. Let's look at ANKR BTC. What does this one look like? This one looks pretty low, and actually had a good volume candle yesterday. This one looks pretty good. This one looks pretty good, and actually I would say stop loss if it breaks down below 21. All right, Stop loss if it breaks below 21. Let's just take a look at this guy. Put a P&L on this. Let's just see where this guy can go because it looks okay. Your risk is 8.7%. If it breaks down below 21, get out. Okay? It's as simple as that. This one looks okay. This one does look okay. And you've got the 21 exponential sitting right there, 30% profit. You've got the 55 sitting up here, 73%. Obviously all of our important moving averages are pointed down. Actually, every moving average is pointing down right now on the daily. Let's look at the hourly. Let's just see what the hourly says. All right, so it's just bouncing right here. Obviously, it came all the way down here to 21. This was what, 2 days ago? And it's kind of bounced up on this big volume spike here. There's been decent volume, so that shows me that we have fallen into demand. Okay. Hey Todd, how are you doing? Good to see you on here today. So we've fallen into demand. I would say that really all in all, you could probably get a bid in at 22. I would be willing to bet you can get a bid in at 22. And what that then means, put in this guy down here, I bet you could get filled at 22. And what is your risk at that point? Well, let me move to the 4 hour. Your risk is now only 4.55%. Put in that bid at 22. I bet you'll get filled, and I bet it's going to work out to your benefit. Overall, I bet it is. And let me just kind of zoom out because this looks very similar to a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one looks like 5 waves down from up here. 1, ABC, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, ABC, 4, right? So, and then we've got our last move down here, taking ourselves all the way down here, which means that we are probably going to be correcting this entire move. So again, take it from the top all the way down here to the bottom, and we're going to be looking for a move up to the 50. Now, if this happens, I mean, this is pretty significant. That's actually exactly 300%, going from 22 sats to 88 sats. That's pretty significant. That'd be a risk I'm willing to take because, well, one, it's clearly defined what your risk is. You're literally risking 4.55% for the risk or for the reward that you could get up to 300% profit. Now, that's assuming you get filled at 22. Currently, it's trading at 23. I'd be willing to bet that you can get filled at 22. If it breaks 21, I would say get out. So set your stop loss at 20. Set your stop loss at 20. Set your limit price at 21. Because this guy, as you can see, spends a lot of time back and forth. So if this breaks through 21 and gets to 20, I bet you'll get filled at 21. So I think this is something that could work. All right, so I like this. I'm going to write this down because this looks pretty good. ANKR. And again, we are watching for items that have decent volume. And we have seen some decent volume over the last day. So this looks okay. Let's keep on going. What's the next one? PHB has double volume over the last 10 days versus the last 30 days. So let's take a look at it. PHB, BTC. All right, so this guy has been, you see, this is another one very similar to the one we were looking at just a little bit ago. It's right all the way down here at the bottom. So I would say probably not worth getting into until we see a spike of demand. Like, yes, we had a little bit of a spike here, got rejected at 15, and now it's come back down. So I would say probably not something to be getting into right now. But when it does pivot, and it's only at 7 sats, but assuming that this guy can get back up above 15, which would be 100% from where it's currently at, it's probably going to make its way up to 30 or 35. I think that probably could be good, but I'm not going to be getting into that guy. So let's take a look at, let's see here. CHZ has lower volume. Troy has the same. DGB has a little. Okay, let's take a look at DGB. It's actually a project that I happen to like. So let's take a look at this guy. All right, so it had a good move up and a pullback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I think it's probably going to try and make another low, but I can see the reason why it's seeing some support down here. Going to an hourly. You know what? Actually, there's just a lot of volume here. Look at all of this volume that we've seen. I think this is setting up to be a good buy. It's probably going to fall down to 70. It's probably where it's going to bounce. I'm not going to recommend it right now, but I would say again, it's probably going to make another low and probably bounce up from there. And maybe it'll find its way up here before it comes down. But you know, if it were to do something like this, where we get a little A, B, C, A, B, C down here, then I think that's where it goes up. So I would watch DGB breaking down below 70. Okay, watch DGB break it down below 70, and I think it probably will spike from somewhere in that range, 68 to 70, probably where it's going to spike. But it doesn't look good at the moment. It doesn't look good at the moment. All right, so let's keep on going. Let's see here. DREP, less volume. SNGLS. All right. Versus Bitcoin. Big spike, and yeah, I think this one already had. I mean, maybe there was a pump and dump that happened on this. Actually, this is probably the whole Elon Musk thing that happened. But anyway, yeah, obviously there was a big spike, and it came all the way back down to the equilibrium. But let's see here. Let me just go back to the daily. I think all of these alt charts are probably going to look very similar. Um, yeah, where it just continues to bleed more and more and more. This guy's all the way down to 15 sats. I would say this is probably not worth buying unless it just continues just moving sideways. If this guy stops its downward trajectory and starts to move sideways for a while, I would say you probably could get a good buy here. What you're trying to do though is you're trying to figure out what your risk is. Okay, you're trying to limit your risk. Buying here blindly, you don't know where your stop loss is unless you make it down here at 12, right? So it's basically the low from a couple days ago. You need to limit your risk, and from where we're at right now, down here to the stop loss, you're still talking about a 17% pullback on 3 sets. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. So are you willing to risk that much on a shot in the dark? I don't see a really good setup right here. All right, so let's keep on looking. RVN. Okay, this one should look somewhat decent. It looks very similar to the rest, unfortunately. I mean, I'm sure the USD trading pair probably looks great, right? I'm sure the USD pair probably looks great, but that's because Bitcoin has been moving, right? And we haven't taken a look at Bitcoin. I probably will take a look at it here in just a little bit. But taking a look at this, let's move down to the hourly. Obviously, we have a little bit more volume on average over the last 10 days than we have over the last month. We're trying to move above all of these moving averages. So actually, RVN looks okay. RVN does look okay. It looks like it probably does want to move up. So let's see, what is our risk from up here? All right, you're talking about risking about 18%. But what are we talking about as far as a reward? Because that's what you really have to aim for. Even if you're taking it from this pivot high up here to this pivot low down here, you're still going to be looking for a move up to at least a 50. So that's 50%. 50%. Maybe you make it to the 618 and you can pull 63 to 65%. That could work. That is something that could work. Now, the risk is really big here. When I trade traditional assets, I don't like to risk any more than 3 to 5%. But on crypto, it's a lot more volatile. You have to give yourself a little more wiggle room. So let me take a look at Electronium. I'm not familiar with it. I don't actually follow any of these quote unquote projects. Let me see if I can find it here. Electronium. This is, oh, it's a KuCoin pair. Okay, I'm going to take a look at Electronium versus Bitcoin. Yes, it looks like it has broken out on the hourly. It looks like it broke out a while back here. And yeah, so our waves indicator indicated a stronger buy down here in this area down here at the 1300. Now it's up at 17, finding some support here at the 55 exponential on the hourly, which is nice. Let's just take a look and see where we got the pullback from the dominant pivot low, which is down here at 1250, to the dominant pivot high, which is where I had the rejection at 24.52, came down here to the 618. I bet if I threw the 65 on there, it probably would contain that pretty well. Maybe it went just a little bit further. I don't have the 65 on here, so let's just take over that guy. 0.65, and that's at 1670. Yeah, basically we didn't have a closure below the 65. I mean, you could kind of say that did, but it bounced right back. So this looks okay. This actually looks okay. Actually, as long as it stays above 1670, you don't want to see, and really you're looking down here at about 1641, but potential for this guy to go up here to at least 2735. And from where we're at right now, and I don't trade on KuCoin, so this is all just, um, oh man, actually, that risk, 4% is really pretty good. Pretty good. You don't get that often on crypto. And actually, you probably have better risk because I would layer in. I would layer in all the way down here to about 1680 probably. But you're looking for an upside potential for this guy to go about 60% at least. Now, if you really want to zoom out and go to the 4-hour here, because honestly, this one does look okay. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take our trend-based fib extension. I'm going to do it over here on the right so it doesn't clutter up the chart. We're going to start down here at the bottom, down here at 1250, as close as I can. There we go. Up here to the top at 2452, bring it down to the pullback. And your upside target, I mean, your first target really is going to be right up here at the 100, which is a 28.16, 64% gain. But if this is an impulsive move, it'll take some time, but watch for this guy to go up here to the 1618 to the 175. That's going to be for about 100 to 113% gain versus Bitcoin. So there you go. And sure, it's on Huobi as well, but yeah. So this looks okay. I can't trade it. I won't trade it because I don't have an account on Huobi or on KuCoin. But yeah, no, this could be a good one. So this is nice. I like this one. Julian, if you're not on our Discord, just hop on in. We have an invite code in the video description directly to Discord. So feel free to pop in there. We'd like to have you in there. All right, well, I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to take a look at gosh. So I'd like to take a look at Quark Chain, but just isn't enough excess volume. Just keep on looking. Let's see here. XEM is just barely above average on volume. We have Bitcoin down, interesting, which actually has double volume. Okay, so let's just take a look at Bitcoin. Let's see what Bitcoin is doing. BTC USD on the 4-hour. Oh yes, I've got a lot on this chart. And yeah, actually, we had a pullback right here to this 2618. Wow, how interesting. How interesting. Okay. So from this top down, oh, okay. So this is an older trend-based fib extension that I had on here. So this does look, actually it looks okay. Bitcoin looks fine. So from this 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to put this 3 up here. 3, then from up there, A, B, C, and maybe this is the bottom. Maybe we come down here. Let me pull this guy up because I think this is probably more, this looks so much better right down here. And then for our 5 to be right where we kind of expect it to be, I think this actually looks even better. This looks even better compared to what we had previously. And this guy right here, A, B, maybe the B is here, and then we go down here for the C to finish wave 4. It could be that we still have a little further to go, but honestly, this looks pretty good. If we can come back down here on the hourly and test that 200, which is that dark purple that we've got there, we do have a bearish cross here, which we haven't seen since all the way back here on January 4th. But keep in mind, the last time the 21 and the 55 crossed, we had a magnet right back up to it, bounced above, had a little bit of a rejection, again, back down here to this 200, and then it sprung right back up. So if we can retest this 200 on the hourly, that's where you should manage your risk. If we close an hourly below, at this point, the 200 exponential is at 36,375. If we close an hourly below that is when you should get out. Okay, so that looks It looks pretty decent, and we've been holding that. We've been holding that ever since all the way back here on December 12th. For the last month, that 200 exponential on the hourly has held. Yeah, we poked below it back here, but we bounced off of it pretty hard. Same thing here. And we're going to probably test it again. And again, right here, it looks okay. If we came back down here to test this, it looks fine. And then we can see ourselves to our upside target, which we have been watching, maybe 45K, but right here, our algo target is going to be sitting at 44,880. All right, 44,880. Maybe it ekes its way up here to this negative 382 extension, which is at 46,650. But I don't know. It looks okay to me still. It still looks all right for Bitcoin to continue to move higher, unless we close an hourly below this. And we're talking like longer term. We're not talking like little scalps. We're talking longer term. As long as we hold above this 200 exponential on the hourly, then I think we're okay. Keep in mind, as I'm saying this, that we are at a $37,850 Bitcoin right now. This is not something that not really something that we expected to see so fast. It happened fast. But, if you're saying like, gosh, I don't want to sell up here, were you willing to sell all the way down here at 20K, breaking through this 20K barrier? Were you willing to sell up here at 20K, not thinking that we might actually make it through? If you were willing to sell here at 20K, why would you not be willing to sell at $38,000? I'd be willing to bet that a lot of you probably would be happy to sell here, but you're afraid to because you think it's going to keep going. You think it's going to keep going. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's keep on going. See if there's anything else that we can find that's worth buying. IOTX, not really great volume. Let's keep on going. TCT, AKRO, COTI, all below average volume. Here we go. IDEX, IDEX, BTC. All right, let's see what this guy looks like. Not terrible, actually. This it's got a lot of spikes though. Oh man, a lot of spikes with a lot of volume, and there was a lot of volume here. Let's just take a look and see. There was a lot of volume, but actually this huge candle that brought us down is a mark down on low volume. Marked on a low volume, which has kind of been moving sideways here. So if you wanted to buy this guy, again, this is one that you can see just some sideways action. It's not in an obvious move down, but you can take this and manage your risk at the low. So again, 5.26%. That's decent. That's decent risk management for a crypto. I'm going to have to move out. I'm going to move out to like a 4-hour here just to see, man, it's just really hard because it looks like we are cupping here. So probably it's going to make its way up here to 500. 500 from where it's currently at right now is probably a pretty decent gain, 426%. And we're talking about risking 5.26%. 500, I think, is going to be the target for this guy when it finally does start to move. Obviously, we have some demand that we saw. This is a lot of volume here that we saw on the 11 o'clock hour on January 8th, 2 days ago. I would say this looks okay. This looks okay. Again, you're seeing this guy moving sideways, finding some support down here. So managing your risk, maybe you can give yourself a little bit because we're talking about, again, some significant gain potential here on IDEX, IDEX. I'm going to put this down. Along with ANKR, I'm going to put IDEX, IDEX. Looks okay. This looks okay. I may even take this trade because this one looks all right. So, yeah, let's take a look at that over the next couple days. Let's see here. MDT has below average volume, OST below average, COS below average, ARPA, VIB below average. Okay, QLC has above average volume. So let's take a look at QLC. All right, QLC. Actually, this looks pretty darn good. I like QLC. I don't even need to I don't even need to stare at the chart for too long. I would say, managing your risk 15, 16% is quite a bit. You could probably take this guy here and risk about 10%. But taking a look at this guy, big volume spike there, huge volume spike, probably is going to recover a bit. You could probably pull for a scalp, 30 to 40% on that guy. But over time, again, giving it some time, assuming that we do get a decent alt run, let's take this fib from this top up here, right there, down here to the bottom. It's going to be right about there. Right about there. All right, take this guy up here to what the gosh, this is potentially some serious potential. 180%, 309%. If it makes it to the 50, that's 400%. If it makes it to the 50. Now again, looking left, obviously we're going to get some resistance along the way. This is going to be monumental resistance though. I wouldn't attempt to hold this beyond the 50. I would be fading the move. Once you get above the 236, I would set a 33% sell at 125, 33% sell at 180, and sell the rest at 220. That's what I would be looking for. So this one looks okay. You're managing, you're risking 10%, which is again more than I usually risk. So we're looking at QLC here. Again, obviously it's above average volume because of that huge spike. So that's why I'm a little skeptical, but it still looks okay. Taking a look at most things on the Bitcoin pair, the volume just really doesn't look good. Mana has double the volume. Let's take a look at Mana. I haven't looked at that in a long time, Decentraland. Mana versus Bitcoin. And again, I'm looking at the Bitcoin trading pairs, and I'm doing that intentionally. Let me go to the hourly. This guy looks, he looks pretty good. Let's take a look at this from the bottom here to the top. And our pullback, it's below that. Even if I go to a log scale, yeah, even down at this level, it looks like it probably wants to go to the 786, which is at 257. So maybe we find ourselves down here at 257, but we've got lots of support that we should have here. I would hold off. Honestly, it's probably going to find support here, about right here, at about 260 to 265. If we place a bid here, right there at 266, and we manage our risk on the other side of the 786, gosh, I almost feel like with crypto, a 3.38% stop, I almost feel like you probably want to give this a little bit more, like 8%, because your upside potential on this is going to be going up to 450, which is going to be giving you potentially a 70% return. So that's still an 8-to-1 ratio, which is actually pretty good on this guy. I would be waiting for that guy to come down here to 266 though, and even then I would scale in. I would set a bid here at 267. I'd put another one at 257, maybe put one last one at 250. So you're not really risking 8.65%. You're risking less than that by layering in. All in all, it looks okay. It looks okay. Mana looks okay. So yeah, we've taken a look at quite a few different things here. I'm looking at CMT, basically same volume. Syndicator, below average volume. BTS, BitShares, barely above average volume. Same thing with CHR. All of these guys are below average volume. All right, so before I get into the last segment here, before I start to close this off, I'm just going to throw it out there one more time. If you want access to our Discord, there's a comment in the video description. Feel free to click on that link to get access to our Discord. But let me just explain something here. Why am I looking at the Bitcoin pair and not at the Tether pair? Because at this point, all of the Tether pairs of all of these things look really great. Look really great, okay? If you take a look at, let's see here, what can we take a look at? Let's take a look at Ethereum Classic. And probably, actually, that's not a really good one because it's kind of done a little crazy today. Let's take a look at Lumens, Stellar versus Tether, right? So obviously this looks really great. This looks like it's done really, really awesome, right? So lumens from here on January 3rd all the way to the top there on January 6th was 233%. All right, so that's 233% from January 3rd through January 6th. All right, let's take a look at lumens versus Bitcoin. Lumens versus Bitcoin also did very well. What did that do? That went up 212% from January 3rd through January 6th. What did Bitcoin do during that time? Probably not a whole lot. From January 3rd, right here, through January 6th, right there, what? It moved 2-3%. Yeah, it moved down and then up, right? But really that price was about the same. While at that same time, lumens went up 233% when Bitcoin only moved a couple percent. So the reason why I'm looking at the Bitcoin trading pair is because right now, obviously, Bitcoin is still pushing down some more, but you're going to be looking for the Bitcoin trading pair to go up because when you have an alt season, it's not the USD pair that you're really wanting to pay attention to. You're wanting to accumulate Bitcoin. So you have to look at the Bitcoin trading pair. That's how an alt season works. Things flow into an asset, and yeah, they can flow in the Tether pair, but that Bitcoin pair is where you're really going to be finding your gains. Because as long as that Bitcoin pair supports a move to the upside, then you're going to be gaining. Like right now, Bitcoin is trending down. Like this is a sell-off, right? We are getting sold into on Bitcoin. Yeah, I think we're getting close to the bottom. But if Bitcoin is trending up and your alt is trending down on the Bitcoin pair, your alt could look okay because you're gaining USD value. But in actuality, you're really doing yourself a disservice by being an alt. But right now, we're looking at the Bitcoin trading pair. We're finding things that are going to be moving up in value. And even if Bitcoin drops in value, Bitcoin from the top has dropped like what, 10%? It's dropped 12%. But if your BTC pair goes up 20, 30, 40%, 100%, you're going to be making money. You're going to be making money by your altcoin performing better against Bitcoin. And right now we can see money leaving Bitcoin. It's going to go somewhere, which is why we're looking at alts. We're going to be looking at alts that have an increase in volume. Do I have an opinion on VeChain? Let's take a look at VeChain versus Bitcoin. VeChain versus Bitcoin looks like it's coming down to a really good place to buy. Okay, I need to go ahead and close out the video, but VeChain does look pretty good. Probably is going to be moving down to about 65 again before we see a move up. So sorry, I've got to cut it short today, but if this video did help in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and of course,